What does this image make you think of? Given the abundance of sugar in ice cream, tooth decay would seem like a logical interpretation, but a Vietnamese speaker would instantly identify it as the opposite: toothpaste. And this is all down to the weird and wonderful way Vietnamese words are smashed together to create new ones. If you've watched the French loanwords quiz, you'll remember that ice cream is game. Dan means hit and rang means tooth. Hitting one's teeth in Vietnamese means brushing one's teeth in English. And game can also mean cream. So game dan rang means tooth hitting cream or toothpaste. Even Vietnamese people find these pictorial riddles amusing. And they even have a name for them. Đuổi hình bắt chợ, which directly translates to chase image, catch word. Now, to work these out from the pictures alone, you'd either need to be a native speaker or at least very proficient in the language. So for the quiz that follows, I'll be providing the non-Vietnamese speaking contestant, Jules, with the constituent pictures and their associated words in both English and Vietnamese to see if he can work out the compound word. So here we are back for the second of these compounding and potentially confounding quizzes, where we look at how Vietnamese words compound together and Jules has to try and work out what they mean in English.
Hello everyone.
As before, this quiz will follow the same format. There will be 20 questions and 7 rounds. If there is anything culturally significant about any of the questions, we might go off on little tangents here or there. Are you ready, Jules?
I am.
How many did you score on the last one? Can you remember?
I did pretty well. High. I think maybe 13 or 14.
I think it was more like 11.
Maybe. That's still good.
Okay, that's the score to beat. For everyone at home, try and beat Jules' score as well. Vọng mọt, đô. And đô is a very useful word in Vietnamese, and we'll see why after this round. But essentially it means stuff. Đồ chơi, đồ chơi. Play stuff.
Play stuff. Toys.
It certainly is.
Yes, one.
And in English we might say a plaything, like a child's plaything. So it's not actually that dissimilar as well.
What part of Vietnam is that from?
These are stock photos, Jules. Okay, 1 for 1. Đồ uống, đồ uống.
Drink stuff.
Here, uống is the verb to drink, by the way.
So this is for liquid. Drinking stuff. So, water, beer, would that be đồ uống? Or are you talking glassware, Bill? Cups.
You were pretty close to it when you said liquid.
Liquid, drink stuff, liquid. How can you be close? That's not it. Wait. Drink stuff, alcohol.
It's the noun. Drink, as in a beverage.
Well, that's what it is. I get a point for that. Drink stuff. Yes, stuff you drink.
And it needs to be precise here.
But it is stuff you drink. That's what's different. Okay.
The difference is, like in English, the verb and the noun drink are both the same. So I drink a drink. Whereas it's different in food, for example. Anyway. Đồ ăn, đồ ăn. Kind of gave this one away already. Okay.
1.5.
And what's your favorite đồ ăn in Vietnam?
Paper plate pizza.
That's not. Come on, Vietnamese.
I like bánh. I like, of course, the pho. I like the seafood rice congee. That's really good. You gotta get it at the right place, though.
Well, what does that have in it? Like shrimp
It
and...
can have shrimp, or it can have oysters, just fish. Mostly shellfish, though, and like root vegetables and a bunch of watery rice and spices. Very good, though.
Yeah, when people talk about traditional Vietnamese dishes, they're generally referring to the noodle soup type dishes like pho, bún bò Huế, bún chả, the latter of which, bún chả Hanoi. That goes down as my favorite. Đồ gỗ. Đồ gỗ. You remember this word from the first quiz when we talked about gỗ tay,
The wrist.
yeah, the neck of the arm.
So the neck of stuff.
But gỗ also means ancient, and in this context, we're using it as ancient.
So ancient stuff would be antiques.
It certainly is.
Right.
And things in general that are second-hand in Vietnam that have previously been owned by different people are pretty uncommon. Do you know why they're uncommon in Vietnam?
Because most of the stuff was made out of wood and they fall apart after a generation, maybe, or it just gets handed down throughout the within the generations, within the families, throughout the generations. There we go. One of those two is correct.
Yeah, I mean, you'll see things like second-hand phones and electronics that are fairly common, but things like antiques or like houses and stuff.
Well, houses used to be made out of like thatch, right? So every house you see is relatively new, right?
Yeah, and there's also that sort of superstition as well that second-hand stuff like old houses are haunted, and so if you're gonna buy this house, quite often they'll just bulldoze the whole thing down and build a new one in its place.
Yeah. So one of the oldest structures that we see in Vietnam are what? They are temples and tombs. You can see they're old tombs. Rich people used to have tombs made, right?
Yeah.
And I used to have a nice camera and take pictures, and I told my wife I went to take a picture of the tomb one time at like noon, and she freaked out. Said, "That's crazy. Spirits are alive then," you know.
Yeah, you
A
should.
hornet did sting me right by the eye, though, so maybe she's right.
Yeah, whether right or wrong, you will have to deal with a lot of superstitious beliefs if you are living here. Vòng hai tòa nhà. Cửa hàng. Cửa hàng.
So door goods would be doorknobs, peepholes.
Think of it as like a door to goods.
Closet. A door to a store. Yes.
Certainly
Take
is.
it.
Yeah, here we have, is that Mart or N-Mart?
New York Mart.
Okay. And this is, you can see below it, cửa hàng tiện lợi. Tiện lợi means convenient, so convenience store.
Who gets the photo credit on that bill? You.
That is my photo credit,
Nice. Nice framing.
yeah. So what's your go-to cửa hàng in Vietnam?
Vinmart, although it is officially known as Vinmart Plus. They did have 7-Elevens as well for Qua Hang, right? But two of them have recently shut down.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, there still are some around, but
Well, there aren't any in D2, I don't think.
they're a lot more common though in other Asian countries like Thailand, Japan,
Yes.
these places.
We have Circle K here, though. Which is
4 out of 5, we're looking good, Jules. Nhà thờ. Nhà thờ.
These are pretty easy, Bill. This is going to be a temple.
Right, final answer?
That doesn't sound good. House, worship, temple. Yes, final answer.
It's a church.
It's the same thing. I'm taking credit.
The word for temple is chùa. And some of you watching at home might have thought that this word was a temple, given that Buddhism is very prevalent in Southeast Asia. And in Thailand, you'd certainly be right, where 95% of the people are Buddhist. But what sets Thailand apart from places like Vietnam, in fact, all other countries in Southeast Asia?
What sets them apart?
Yeah.
Thailand?
Yeah.
Give me a hint.
Historically.
Well, their Buddhism is different from Vietnamese Buddhism. Their Buddhism is from Sri Lanka, and the Buddhism in Vietnam is from China.
Yeah, okay, there's that. I'm thinking about Western influence, though.
Point. Thailand was a British colony, no, and the rest were French.
Now, what sets Thailand apart is it is the only Southeast Asian country never to be colonized by a Western power. It was
Britain colonized them.
No, Britain had an influence on them, but they
Same thing.
they kind of adopted the British ways. You know, they started using knives and forks, and they projected themselves as civilized to the British, so that the British would leave them alone. But they were never formally colonized, and as such, they didn't have that influence from Western religions like Christianity. However, in Vietnam, about 8.5% Vietnamese identify as Christian, most of which are Catholics. And this dates back to Jesuit Christian missionaries like Alexander de Rhodes. You heard of him?
No, but I've heard of Jesuits.
Yeah, well, he was like a famous Christian missionary. As Rhodes, yeah. Rhodes, yeah, and he has a number
Is he
of.
related to the slave owner that had all the diamonds
I'm not sure,
that we hate now?
but he does have a number of roads named after him.
Okay, Rhodes Road.
And once the French colonized Vietnam in the 19th century, churches and the Christian faith really started to spread, especially in the south where they had a larger presence. So Nhà Thờ is in fact a worship house or a church, not a temple. Tòa nhà chọc trời. Tòa nhà chọc trời. So
Yes.
it is the building which pokes the sky as opposed to scraping the sky. I think poke is kind of probably a better description because you've kind of got this big spike on the top that's kind of poking
Most of the
sky.
time, yes, yes. Why do they do that? For lightning? A radio tower?
I think so, yeah. So yeah, this is a picture I took. Clearly you can tell we're in the rainy season here.
Oh, I like the contrast, though. I like the blacks.
And can you tell us about this skyscraper in Vietnam, Jules?
Is it Landmark 81?
Certainly is.
Yeah, been there. It just was completed, what, 2 years ago, maybe? Yeah, mall on the bottom floor, ice skating rink. Nice little park around it. Nice place.
Virtual reality game when you get up
Did
there.
you do that?
Yeah.
I did it and made a mess.
Yeah.
I actually fell.
Yeah, I did get a bit of vertigo when I was jumping off the top of the tower. And when my girlfriend did it, she closed her eyes for the whole thing, which completely defeated the point.
Yeah, my God.
Yeah, so Landmark 81 has 81 floors. It's the tallest building in Southeast Asia and the 15th tallest skyscraper in the world. Bum, ba, Kenyan. Let's talk about some nature. Chân, trời, chân trời.
Cloud. Footprint in the sky. Cloud.
What are you going for?
No. John Foot, Sky Foot.
It does make sense, this one.
It does not.
It does.
It does.
Like the foot of the sky.
Foot, the horizon.
It is the horizon. Chân trời. And it's a lot easier to remember these compound words when there are two root words that build a clear picture, like skyfoot. You only need to remember two words and how they associate together to get horizon. Whereas if you're learning English, clearly horizon has completely different roots from sky and foot. So you need to remember three words, which is one of the main reasons why I think learning Vietnamese vocabulary is a lot easier. Núi, lửa, núi lửa.
Fire on the mountain.
A fire mountain.
Volcano. Where's there a volcano in Vietnam?
Yeah, we're not on the boundary of any continental plates, so there aren't no volcanoes in Vietnam. Where would the nearest volcanoes to here be? Probably Indonesia.
Indonesia has tons of them, I
yeah.
think.
If you go further east and a bit to the north, then Japan, perhaps. Bom Bom, Lombok. We have the rat again. Duot. Tui. Duot Tui.
A rat bag. A rat. This is a gym bag.
So the answer is an animal here.
So the pocket of a rat.
Yeah, you always kind of flip these words around. So like a bag mouse or a pocket rat. That's how you should picture it.
Pocket rat is a gerbil, a hamster, a cockroach.
Where does pocket come into this?
You put it in your pocket. And it's bad. It's a Western thing. How about
It's substantially bigger than a mouse or a rat.
pocket? I don't know. That's a hard one. Give up.
A kangaroo.
Woo!
Clearly,
That's terrible. Of course, that's what I thought, but why did I think that? Because pocket, when you think animal, it's the only thing you think of.
Yeah, obviously there are no kangaroos here in Vietnam, and kangaroo is not a rodent like a mouse or a rat.
It's a marsupial,
It's a marsupial.
which is a rat, right?
No, they're slightly different. Marsupials. Yeah, that's right. Rodents have these sharp set of incisors that distinguishes them from marsupials.
Okay.
Anyway, trivia question. What is the name of the baby kangaroo in
Joey.
Yes, so it is.
Okay, so I get a point for that.
No, these additional trivia questions
Give me an extra.
are not graded. Cá by. Cá by.
What? Elephant. Damn it. Whale. That's what I mean.
Certainly is. And again, it's not a fish, but a mammal. And we had cá heo in the last one, pigfish or dolphin. And I came up with a little riddle which Vietnamese people have trouble answering because of the fact that cá can also be used to name other non-fish aquatic animals like the aforementioned cá heo we saw in the last quiz. And also you can have cá sấu, meaning crocodile. The riddle is cái gì không phải là con cá? Which doesn't really translate to English, but kind of means what fish-like animal is not a fish? The answer to which would be something like cá voi or cá heo. Gấu, mèo, gấu mèo.
How do you say meow? And let's say it correctly in Vietnamese.
Mèo.
So that's so easy for them to remember. All right.
Yeah, it's the same in Chinese. It's mao. In Thai, it's meow.
Okay. So my jumpies go meow, meow, meow. I'm like, yes, that's right. It's a cat.
So a cat there.
A cat bear would be a tiger, wildcat, a puma,
Smaller than the bear, bigger than the cat, doesn't live in Vietnam.
a panda bear, a koala bear,
A raccoon. Vọng Nam. Đổng hợp. Dreaded miscellaneous round. Thầy bái. Thầy bái. A conjure teacher. Teacher of conjuring.
I don't even know what that means. Conjure. Teacher of conjuring.
Conjuring's like, kind of pretending to do magic.
So like a soothsayer, a
Yeah.
tarot card reader,
Yeah, you've essentially got the answer.
Fortune teller.
Fortune teller. And you've had some experience with fortune tellers in Vietnam, haven't you, Jules?
indirectly, yes. I
Wanna-
was told when I could get married, when was a lucky day. I was told I could not get married in the year of the ox, which is or bull or whatever it is, which is next year, because that's my year, and it like makes everything uneven. So get married in 2 weeks.
So getting married in the year of COVID, far more fortuitous, yes.
I guess so. Yeah, it had to be. I got two choices: October 27th. No, three choices: October 27th, the 25th, which is a Sunday, or September 25th, which I can't remember. That's too soon. So.
And did the fortune teller justify exactly why these specific dates are auspicious to get married?
Phew. No, but what they do is they take the day and year you were born and the day and year your wife was born, and they make sure there are no bad days for either of you. And maybe there is such thing as a lucky day for both of you. Anyway, that's what we got.
Yeah, so again, you do see these quite a lot, and it is a respected job here in Vietnam. Vietnamese people, generally more superstitious than Western people by nature, do take what these people say seriously. We just kind of go along with it and nod our heads.
So why not? Out of our hands.
Nước hoa. Nước hoa.
Flower water. Perfume.
Certainly is.
Yes.
Good guess. I thought you might have been going for nectar or something there, which would have been a very reasonable guess. But in fact, nectar is mật hoa, meaning flower honey. Flower water is nước hoa. Yay. So this is the adjective, easy. Yay. Yay. Thương. Yay. Thương.
Easy love. Tell me more. Love easy love.
The answer to this is also an adjective.
Okay.
So something which is easy to love is also
Beautiful, attractive, rich.
on the right on the right lines. Not rich though.
Cute.
Yes.
Oh my God!
It
I'll take
is.
it.
Yeah, good call. In Vietnamese lessons online, you'll normally see yêu, meaning love, as in an yêu em, I love you. Thơm is like general non-romantic love. So
Okay.
and
Yeah.
like an thơm thiên nhiên, I love nature. Thuốc lá, thuốc lá.
Like herbal tea.
Not herbal tea.
Tea.
It's not a drink.
Leaf medicine.
If it were
Marijuana.
you're close on the
Tobacco.
right lines. Yeah, tobacco. If it were some kind of drink like herbal tea, there would need to be some kind of word in there denoting tea or liquid or something like
Quantifier.
that.
No. What do you call those?
Vessel.
Ticket number. Lottery.
Have you ever done the lottery here?
All the time. I've never figured out how to check to see if I've won or not. I give them to my wife. I'm like, check. And I've never heard anything. But then she buys herself stuff the next day.
Yeah, it says at the top, "Yai tak it," meaning special prize, and then hai tỷ, or 2 billion dong. But I've never known anyone to win anything from this, and I'm like you, I don't even know how to check them. I just do the same, buy the occasional one from the vendors, who are typically sort of very poor homeless people. And then
Yeah, that's what people buy them out of for charity.
Yeah.
Which is kind of fits into the Buddhist thing, like the karma, like, oh, I'll give the poor person money and maybe it'll come back to me a millionfold, or a billionfold.
khẩu trang, khẩu trang.
No, is this a noun or a verb?
Now,
So this is a speech.
nope.
This is a lecture. This is a audiobook. This is a mouth and page.
All good answers up until now. You are kind of not on the right avenue, but in theory, what the answers you've given could
A tongue.
that would work as well. But no, it's not.
Mouth, page. Lips. I don't know.
It isn't actually a very good description. It actually is.
Oh my
face
god,
mask.
that's horrid, Bill.
Yeah, I know. I'm not quite sure where page comes in here. Khẩu is a less common word used for mouth. The normal word for mouth is miệng, but here they're using khẩu. As most people are probably aware, Southeast Asian countries are face mask wearing.
Pre-COVID,
Pre-COVID, they were. I never wore a mask pre-COVID. Now I know when I go out. It's just now become habit, something which at first was very alien when I came here. Has now become very normal. And it probably has become a fair bit more normalized in Western countries since they become mandated, at least in certain countries. Yeah, do you think it'll catch on?
well, it's not going to decrease. The popularity is not going to really wane, I don't think. It's never going to go back to what it was pre-COVID. Nobody would wear them. Wait, Asians would wear them, right? But they would only. We thought that they only wore them because they were sick and didn't want to get other people sick. That's what they thought of us. They're like, no, we don't want your germs. That's the reality. But it also works for bad air, smog, you know. So, and the women in Vietnam, it could be the most beautiful day, clean air, and they'll still have the face mask on. Why? Because they don't want the sun hitting their face and giving age marks or sunspots.
Not just age marks or sunspots. Why else do they keep out of the sun?
They don't want to get darker either.
Yeah, light skin or white skin is considered more attractive and is attributed to a higher class status because the lower classes typically would have darker skin as they would be the ones working in rice fields and such.
It's the same in India, with the exception of southern India. It's the opposite.
And there's an argument that can be made, which has been made, that if all Western countries did wear masks as often as countries like Vietnam, then the rate of spread of COVID would probably be substantially less. Vam Bai Ka. And this is the difficult round, Jules. So,
My specialty.
Mật khẩu. Mật khẩu.
Saliva.
Actually, saliva is nước miệng. The word miệng that I mentioned a minute ago, also meaning mouth. So, mouth water is saliva. Nước miệng.
Mouth, honey, would be a kiss? Is it a noun?
Yes.
Mead. I don't know.
Now, the reason why these ones are so difficult,
Doesn't make no sense.
well, they do make sense, but you have to really know the etymology of these words in order to make sense of them. So this is password. And the reason it's password is mật actually comes from the word bima. Secret means secret. So it's in fact meaning in this compound, secret mouth, which now makes a bit more sense when we talk about password.
Wow.
Okay.
I wouldn't call this difficult, Bill. This is a different word. Okay.
Getting even more obscure,
Yeah.
we have yêu, love.
Uh-huh. I'm going to get this one. Love.
So how does this differentiate from thương, the love we saw earlier?
Because the love we saw earlier was just not real love. This is real love.
Non-romantic.
Yes.
Go.
Real love bridge. Love bridge.
Yêu go.
A love bridge is a wedding or a marriage.
I'll give you a couple of clues here.
A love bridge. Suicide pact.
When you want to ask someone for their hand in marriage,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Promising them something? Proposing?
Yeah, proposing. Let's say,
Spending a lot of money on a ring?
yeah, okay, maybe a bad example. Let's say you were actually asking the father of the bride. What would that be?
Permission?
Permission, so you
Married.
are...
Proposing? You are making a deal?
It is
Request.
request. Now, the reason why this one's difficult to work out is because yêu, meaning love in Vietnamese, is also a Sino-Vietnamese word meaning necessary or important. Sino-Vietnamese meaning coming from Chinese. And the gao comes from gao nguyen, which means to pray. So taken from these two different roots, you kind of got pray and necessary and important, and that kind of comes together to give you request. When I first learnt this word, I visualized it as a love bridge. And this is how polyglots learn vast amounts of vocab, by associating striking or memorable images, which create these long-term connections in the brain, which in turn lead to long-term memory. So for a word like yêu go, to me it makes a lot more sense to have a word like this embedded in your memory instead of where the words actually come from, which would be a lot harder to remember. Okay, Jules, we are done.
What's my score?
What do you think your score is?
14.
Let's see, we're going up, we're going up.
Oh, yeah! He gave me a point, I think.
That is
I'll
a-
take it.
that
That's
is-
good. That's a damn good score.
That is a definite-
Especially because two of them were impossible. Like, okay, fine, I'm going to miss two. One of them I should have got. So, really, it's a 16, which would be perfect for me. I'll take it.
It's a definite improvement on the last score, Jules, and I think it probably reflects how you're a bit more in tune now of seeing how these Vietnamese compounds come together and what a realistic word for that would be in English. I think that probably helped you out a little bit. Okay, Jules, thanks very much for coming on.
Thanks, Bill. See you in a few months for the next one.
See you in the next one.
All right.
So this just about wraps up this Vietnamese Bites video about how Vietnamese words are born. And for me, it's by far the easiest way of expanding your vocabulary quickly. Learning long lists of vocabulary and trying to commit them to memory is not an effective way of expanding your vocabulary. But by taking two or more basic words, smashing them together and getting a new one is a lot easier. So, do you know any more đuổi hình bát chữa? If so, please leave them in the comments below. Until the next time, cảm ơn các bạn đã xem video này. Hẹn gặp lại.